What's up, everyone? Shadowspeedy. Today we're going to be going through and trying to kind of predict what Michigan would be if they put on the restrictor plates on them, similar to what they did in the All-Star race. One thing I was thinking of doing here was, because there was a lot of backlash from the drivers, how they felt like the restrictor plates kind of just made into another super speedway, which honestly I don't blame them. Although the racing was better, I wouldn't want to see that on for every single race. So one of the things that I would like to see them do is kind of have like a little bit of a mixture. I felt like the stuff that we saw at the All-Star race was too much like a super speedway and not enough of a standard speedway track. So what I'm going to try to do is kind of simulate having a super speedway package in the track, but at the same time you're going to have to let off going into corners, and it's going to require more driver skill going in the corners, but you want to have the draft going down the straightaways. It's still going to be probably like a little slight disadvantage for the people in behind, but it's more going to be a disadvantage because you're going to be carrying so much more speed going into the corner rather than losing downforce. I feel something that they need to work on with it. So what I'd like to see would be kind of like a super speedway package with the restrictor plate, but adding more downforce going into the corners, if that makes any sense there. So you won't have that much grip going into the corners, but with the restrictor plate you're going to have that suck up down the straightaways, where I felt like in the All-Star race they had lots of downforce plus the restrictor plates, which kind of, it didn't really leave that good of a balance. It kind of made it into essentially a super speedway kind of track. So that's what we're going to try to do here, and it's actually fairly simple to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and open my Michigan track. Let's check here if I've, okay, yeah, so it's still all default. And we're going to do this without having to open up Sandbox at all. So you can easily make this change to any track. I'm going to probably pull up a Michigan track and do this to a Michigan track anyways. But I figure I should just show it with the in-game track to start with, and to kind of get baseline, so it's a little bit easier when we do pull up an actual track to do it on. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to change the track type. I think it's 5 is what we want. Or is it 4? I think it's 4. And chassis type 5. For those who don't know what the chassis type 5 is, and you missed my last video I did on Monday, that essentially makes it the chassis, so the car body itself. It's going to make it into a super speedway body minus the restrictor plate. So this is going to have the least amount of downforce possible, no restrictor plate. And like I say, if you put this on Daytona, you can be hitting speeds of 100 or 250 to 255 miles per hour, depending on how you set up the car. It gets to the point where you actually need to put more downforce into the car because you're going so fast, you're just floating on the track essentially. It also opens up what you can do to the car. Before, you couldn't adjust your spoiler and some of the spring rates and stuff because they didn't want you modifying that at all. So with that, you'll see that you'll be going much faster and have a lot less downforce. So essentially what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be putting downforce into the car just because we're using the lack of downforce bodies here. So So start here. I think 130 will probably be good, and 150 on the concrete, just so we can get off pit road a little bit easier. So we're gonna do that. And the next thing we're gonna do, just to make the AI look a little bit nicer, lock down the drafting. Save that, close off just to make sure, and we're gonna jump into the game and see what it's like. Sorry if my chair's a little noisy. So we're gonna jump in here. One of the first things we're gonna want to do here, we're gonna want to make sure this is maxed out. I'm gonna put the grill tape down to the lowest it can go, just to add more downforce, and put our gearing down as low as possible here. Let's knock this up a little bit. I think this will be a good baseline start. 2018 for now. We'll see how well this works. I was hoping to hit about 170, 175 going in the corners, and then about 190 to 200 exiting, or going into the corner, and then dropping down to about 170. Still got some work on the setup here. Put a little bit more weight to the rear. The transmission feels pretty good. It's right where I want it to be. I think that will be pretty good. I'm just going to put a couple notches to the rear. Make the braking a little bit more efficient here. So what I might do here, I'm just gonna try to start loosening it up. Because the car just does not like to turn at all. And I feel it's just gonna get worse with the tightness. So it's good to maybe on the first couple laps to have it a little loose, a little bit more difficult to handle, and then have it tighten up. And of course the AI are going to drive away down the straightaways here, and corners we might be able to catch them a little bit. feel like this is pretty good where it's at. Let's go check a couple things here. Okay. Car's still way too tight, but it's a good basic setup. I'll try to knock the AI down. Actually, that might be a little bit too much. I'm gonna put it back up a little bit more. I'm just gonna try to see if I can get a little bit of draft off the AI to see what it looks like here. I think this would be a really good setup for the, like, similar to what the Cup guys should have. At least as something to try out. Bring down the speed that they have on the straightaways by like 20 miles per hour, but have about roughly the same speed, if not a little bit slower speeds going into the corners. And I feel that would be a good combination, because it's not just gonna be a flat foot all the way around the track, but puts a little bit of skill into the driver's hands again, I guess. You definitely need to loosen it up a little bit. Put a little bit more rear weight and remove some wedge, maybe. Still too fast here to get a good draft off. It's one way to get a speed boost, I guess. See if we can get a couple draft of a couple cars this time. The RPMs are pretty good where they're at. Might drop third a little bit more, just because I'd like to be shifting at like the 170 to 175 range. just to prevent people from downshifting in corners. But other than that, I think it's pretty good here. Oops. There we go. And the car's a little bit looser. Just what I was looking for. Let up a little too much there. I think the setup and everything's pretty good here. What I'm going to do next here is modify some of the tire wear. A little bit more fall off, but make the wear a lot lower just because we are running at a lower RPM now. So you're not going to be using up nearly as much fuel, so I want to make sure the tire wear is a lot less to kind of compensate for that, as well as go and add on that extra little bit of fall off, which I find makes the racing a lot better. Try to do a run here and see kind of what the tire fall off will look like.
Keep it under 55. Keep it under 4,000 seconds. Okay, you're clear of pit lane.
I'm definitely going to lower that gear ratio a little bit, or increase the gear ratio a little bit. for some. My feet keep sticking to the pedals.
Limit 55. Keep it under 4 thousandths in second. Okay, you're clear of pit lane. No mark yet. Car outside. Clear.
I'm liking where I have the I feel like my pedals just came uncalibrated there.
Clear.
That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, if you had better throttle control than me, like you'll see I'm like, my throttle's just way too sporadic to get a good lap in. Felt like I was a little bit short on power, but I'm just gonna quickly grab something here. So I'll just put it into a race and see what the AI look like. So I'll be back in 1 second here. Okay, I'm back. So let's see if we can get another run in here. 107, so we're about 1/3 of the way through. Yeah, I think that's about good for the tire wear. Interesting. Hey, I even wreck. Well, I think I got the setup pretty much down. Like I said, once you have more actual humans on the track, I think the draft will actually be a little bit more important. You'll see finessing the corners will be a lot more important to people that can really drive the corners better on a consistent basis. Will be up front, and then of course, you know, getting the draft there to get into the down the straightaways to make passes. So I'm going to end the stream here, just because we pretty much got the basis of what we're trying to do there. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions, you can put them in the chat there. I can answer any questions you have. Until then, I will see you guys next time we do a video. Thanks so much.